What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Sort of Strongman podcast, episode 1. My name is Isaac Rogers, joined by my co-host Brandon Jordan, and we are two amateur strongman athletes who just love talking about strongman. So we figured we'd bring the discussion to you guys so you can be a part of it. Today we're going to be talking about the recent Giants Live Strongman Classic over at the Royal Albert Hall. We wanted to talk some stuff about potentially Mitch needing to take some time off, because it's looking like he's kind of beating himself up a little bit too much. And potentially we could even get into some Britain's Strongest Man stuff when it comes to different athlete qualification system ideas that we have. And we wanted to cover the enhanced games with Thor Bjornsson going for 511 kilos later this month. So I figure we could probably give a little quick introduction of ourselves. Brandon, if you want to go ahead and go first, give a little bit of background about what got you into the sport.
Yeah. My name is Brandon. I'm 26. I've been doing strongman for about 2.5 years now. My first intro to strongman was JF Caron dropping the log on himself at the Arnold's. That my fiance and I walked in right as he was getting, as they took the big board off and took him off. So that wasn't a great intro.
That is a crazy first strongman experience.
Yeah, but my first comp was North Carolina Strongest. Actually with Isaac in 2024, and that was Lynn Morehouse ran that show, and I thought all strongman shows were like that. So I was like, holy moly, this is the coolest thing in the world. Big arena, all the OSG equipment. Obviously, it's not the standard. That's because he runs a great show. But I've just been having fun with it ever since.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what kind of athletic experience did you have before strongman, if any?
Yeah, so it's very odd. I played water polo a lot in high school. I swam. I played soccer for the longest time. Pretty much a lot of cardio stuff. So my static strength is kind of still catching up to where I need to be, but at least squats and cardio wise, I'm all good there.
Great. Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, my name is Isaac. I have also been doing strongman for about 2.5, 3 years. Very different experience from Brandon, because I am somewhat of the opposite experience. I never did anything athletically before strongman, which is funny because whenever I say that to somebody at a show, they're like, yeah, we can tell, which I think is hilarious. But I've been doing it for about 3 years. Brandon and I met in 2024. It would have been, right? 2024 at North Carolina Strongest Man, and kind of been pretty easy friends ever since. And anytime we're together, we're literally always talking for hours about strongman. So we're like, why not do something with this and include you guys in the conversation? I've been a big fan of strongman since, I want to say 2017 or 2018-ish. What other interests do you have other than strongman?
Nerdy stuff. I'm really into. I feel like half the strongman community is into 40K. I've gotten really into that. I used to work in finance, trying to get back into it. Obviously, the hobby 40K costs a lot of money. These little guys are expensive. They are not cheap, and neither is strongman.
Really, I didn't know that.
No, about 5 of these guys is $50.
Ooh, yikes. Let's go ahead and get into the Royal Albert Hall. What have you seen of the Royal Albert Hall so far? I know you couldn't watch the stream because we are both employed. Shocker. Yeah. I was able to catch some of the stream. I had a 4th of July party yesterday that I couldn't watch the last 2 events, but it was a hell of a show, dude.
Yeah, dude, Andre Foytu. I was at World's Strongest Man this year. I was astonished he didn't make the podium.
It's crazy.
Gun to my head after the heats. Obviously, Reina and Mitch were kind of away from everybody else, but it looked like it was them, then Andre, then everybody else. I think his big jump on log hurt him at Worlds, but I'm not surprised that he won. I'm surprised that he won. That dominant.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say before the show, you never bet against Mitchell Hooper, no matter what condition he's in. But there is that curse of if you win World's Strongest Man, they don't win the Strongman Classic. And I was like, if anyone can change that, it's going to be Mitch. And then it was very evident after the first event, it was not going to be Mitch, which I don't think is bad necessarily. Like I said earlier, I think he just needs to take some time off, for real this time. Not I'm going to take 3 weeks after Worlds and then go try to deadlift 1,000,000 pounds. Because I understand why he did it. We can get into that a little bit later. But I seriously think that if Mitch wants to continue being the dominator that he's been over the past 3, 4 years, there has to be some time off. He has to kind of go Brian Shaw style on it, where maybe he only does 2 or 3 shows a year, not necessarily immediately just kind of canceling out the fact that he wants to compete, but the fact that he's doing all of these shows just kind of is he's slowly trending downward a little bit here and there. So that's just my opinion on Mitch. But Andre is, I was going to say he's the next big thing in strongman, but he's the current big thing in strongman, especially with how young he is. I just hope he doesn't burn out too early.
Yeah, yeah. It's he almost reminds me of Alexei Novikov when
Mm-hmm.
he came out just came out of young as hell, came out of the gate hot.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really have any events that he's like bad at. You know what I mean? Like Mateusz came in, he was really young, and obviously he struggled with his deadlift. Um, but yeah, same. I just hope he doesn't burn out like Novikov did, because he just Novikov won worlds and then had a great couple Arnold's performances, and then it looks like the injury bug just got him.
You see, it's kind of a common thread to see athletes who get into the majors too early burn out, but I don't think we're seeing that as much from Andre because he's been in the big dog scene for 3 or 4 years now, and it's not like he has like exploded immediately into being the best guy around. He's kind of taken, I say taken his time. It's been a few years. He's been at the log lift championships for a few years.
Well, he was young enough that he had the junior record for a while, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah, he
Like, I
had the
think like the
junior
first
record.
year he was there, he took the junior record, and he's still hanging around.
So yeah, according to Strongman Archives, his earliest show um, is Chechia's Strongest Man in 2022. So that's 4 years ago. He would have been 19. He went to OSG in 2023, which is another big step up from him. The European Championships of OSG in 2023, and then he went to the OSG World Champs in 2023 and placed fourth in OSG, which the standard at OSG has climbed substantially over the past 3 or 4 years. So for someone that young at the time, he would have been, see, 3 years ago, he would have been 21. To be fourth in the world in the amateur circuit is absolutely nuts. So it's been a long time coming, a long time for him coming up through the ranks. But it's really cool to see another contender for all these titles because it almost gets boring when there's only a few guys that can do it. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what makes. I mean, it's also a Royal Albert Hall participant, Josh Pataka. I mean,
mm-hmm.
he dominated OSG. He didn't just win.
Yeah,
It was like they just sent Bryce Johnson out there
yeah,
against these guys.
yeah.
Like it looked unfair, and so it sucks that he didn't get to do Worlds, because I was really excited to see him there. But I think with how far ahead he was at OSG, it wouldn't surprise me if like he gets another Giants live invite and
Mm-hmm.
just smashes it.
Yeah, because seventh, he placed seventh overall yesterday, but seventh in this lineup is absolutely insane because he beat Matt Ragg, he beat Nick Gardione, Adam Bishop. Obviously, Singleton and Hooper in the end didn't end up placing in the show, but he was only a couple points behind Andy Flynn. There was a bit of a gap to Martins, which Martins top five at the Strongman Classic at 35 years old is awesome. Martins is one of my favorite guys to watch, and I'm glad that he's back in the scene, even if it's only for a short amount of time. I think that the Rogue is going to be something really special this year because I believe Martins has already been announced for Rogue.
Yeah, yeah, he has. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
announced. I'm glad he's back. I remember talking to him after the what was it, 23 Arnold when he came back, or was it 24 Arnold was his first attempt back? I think it was 24
23.
or
No,
23.
it was 22 because Mitch has won 23, 4, 5, 6.
No, which one did he come back on? Martinez, like, remember he kind of came back and then he went away again. Now he's like
Oh,
back.
yeah, that would have been 24 because that was when I was
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I talked to him after the 24 Arnold, and I was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're back." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm back." Like he's kind of wishy
Mm-hmm.
washy about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he seemed so happy at Worlds and so excited to be competing. Him and Romark were doing crowd work like crazy.
Yeah.
And then obviously he said he'll be back again next year. So it's really nice that he's getting an extended swan song and not just like one season done. It's like, hey, I'm back. I'm competing. I'm not just doing this just to take a spot from somebody.
Because he absolutely deserves all of the hype that he gets coming back because Martins is up there with the greatest of all time in terms of overall performances in his career. And he may not be necessarily at his best of all time right now, but he's still hanging pretty decently with the big dogs, especially with the podium that he had at Arnold's.
Oh, yeah.
And in terms of crowd work, like you just said with him and Romark at Worlds, one of my favorite parts of Royal Albert Hall yesterday was Nick and Evan being a little bit American and a little bit obnoxious, which is kind of a synonym. But they were being fun at Royal Albert Hall with that little intro they did, the little "Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines." I think that the sport genuinely needs more of that, and I don't know why people always bring that up as a negative for Evan Singleton's performances because, sure, in the past it has taken a little bit of energy away from his performances potentially. But if you want people to pay attention to the sport, you need to give them something to pay attention to that's not just guys lifting weights. Because the era that we're in right now on social media, there are so many people that are so strong on social media. I could be on Instagram for the entire 24 hours of my day and not see the same guy twice, see some of the strongest people I've ever seen. So it can't be just that. And that's what Evan and now apparently Nick, which is fun. That's the two Americans, 4th of July. As obnoxious as it might seem to the British crowd, I think that that's part of what the sport needs a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a big proponent of when they used to do like the UK versus US, like the men and women used to go against each other. I think that's what strongman needs. It's going to sound very weird. Strongman needs a little bit of like nationalist stuff to it, where it's like the US guys like, yeah, we're from America, screw you UK, and the UK guys are like, hey, we don't like you either. And it's just this this fun like rivalry game, makes it back and forth. I don't know, this is really nerd deep dive. Doublelift used to be a pro League of Legends player. He always said talking trash is great because it makes everyone more invested, because the people who like you want to make sure you're right, the people who don't like you want to make sure you're wrong. And so it just makes the whole thing way more fun, especially when you've got guys like, I mean, Mitch is starting to get a little crowd work back in. You know what I mean? Obviously, last year, whatever happened.
Yeah.
But at Worlds, he was, throughout the heats, he was kind of quiet. And then the finals, I mean, he started getting the crowd really worked up. For the log, and it looked like he did that on the first couple events before he had to pull out.
Yeah, and one of the things that's most frustrating to me as a fan of the sport, because like I said, I've only been competing for a few years, I've been training for a few years. I love when there's actual emotion put into the lifting, because one of the problems with a lot of these open weight guys is, I say open weight specifically because a lot of the lighter weight guys do love to be theatrical about it. They love to get the crowd going. They love to be energetic because it's a little bit easier when you're smaller. But the thing that I feel like talking to people who aren't avid strongman fans is they watch and they're like, it's boring. Which sucks because as someone who's a fan of the sport, I know the sport has potential to not be boring. But because everyone now is obviously focused on their performance over a performance, then it kind of breeds a more boring viewing experience than, for example, there's a reason everyone knows Eddie Hall. And it's because he is not the greatest strongman of all time, but he's one of the most entertaining strongmen to watch of all time, because he had, whether it was beef with Brian Shaw, the actual beef that he had with Hafthor, his persona of the beast, where it was big and it was theatrical. Nobody really has that right now, and nobody's even trying aside from Evan. Yeah. So I feel like if the sport leaned more into that, which Giants Live, for all of the flaws that they have when it comes to not putting on the heaviest show in strongman, they have the theatrics of it working better than, I might eat my words on this, better than any competition that I've seen, at least in the 4 majors, or now 3 majors. Rest in peace, strongest man on earth. But that's one of my favorite things about Giants Live is there's lights and there's pyro and there's lasers, and it's all like it's the feeling of it being larger than life is what's going to grow the sport more than you just focusing on your own individual performance.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's also like I understand the record chasing in strongman because it does bring viewers. But like, look at like Patty Haynes just broke 2 records
Mm-hmm.
on the deadlift for reps and the Conan's wheel, and it's like that's super hype.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell a regular person like, oh yeah, it's a different setup than this comp and blah 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 blah. They don't care. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to know a world record got broken. They're like, sick. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're very intro strongman fan, the people who the sport needs to be catering to. And I agree. I think it's what Giants Live does great. Is it's like, hey, dude, just go hit a world record. Go do something super cool. Is
Mm-hmm.
it the heaviest lift ever? Is it a deadlift world record? No.
Mm-hmm.
But people still care about it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things too that makes it so interesting. So you take one of my favorite shows of all time is the Strongman Open from last year, the Deadlift World Championships, where Thor not only broke the world deadlift record, but he went on to win the show, not comfortably, because obviously he was not comfortable, but he won that show pretty convincingly. And I think combining objectively impressive athletic performances with theatrical stuff and more elaborate presentation is what's going to get you the type of viewership that the sport needs. Because while it does grow from participation, it's going to primarily grow from being able to get eyes on the sport. Because not everyone can compete, not the same way that you can pick up a basketball or pick up a football or go outside and throw a baseball with your friends. Not everyone is going to have calibrated plates or Atlas stones in their garage. So it's like, at least make it interesting to watch, and then we can go from there.
How many people have like we have a Bartos log at nationals? How many people have? I happen to have a Bartos log at my
Mm-hmm.
gym. How many people have access to a Bartos log to train with that?
Exactly.
Not many people. And it's you have to be able to show people, hey, this stuff is heavy, and these guys are really really strong for lifting it. But you don't care about trying to emulate them. You just want to watch them do something cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what's in a weird spot with strongman, where it's like with powerlifting, you can emulate. Everyone has a gym where you have a bench, a deadlift, and a squat rack. Mm-hmm. Everyone can go out and get that. There's always one within at least 20 minutes of wherever you live. But as far as the strongman stuff, you almost have to not discourage the emulation, but you have to acknowledge, like, hey, it is really, really hard to get access to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's why these guys are so cool for lifting it, because they've made this equipment or they've done this, like, here's how this weird way workaround where they've trained it.
Mm-hmm. And it's very unique too, because like you show, for example, like a keg toss, where it's like, oh, so that's something that's pretty similar to something you've seen before. And if you take, for example, they did the one of my favorite yoke moving events was the year at Worlds where they had a dirt bike on either side.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you've ever messed around with a dirt bike or seen one in person, you're like, that thing is heavy. I probably couldn't pick that up. And then when you see somebody pick up and run with 2 of them, then you're like, oh my gosh, that's actually kind of crazy. Or a plane, like a 2017 Worlds, the train pull that they did that one year at World, what was it, like that one in 2022, I believe, where they like pushed it around a circle.
Oh, the big wheel of pain.
Exactly, yeah, the wheel of pain style movement. That was crazy. It was awesome. And or like, for example, the wheel of pain at the Arnold. It's what was it, like 20,000 pounds of wood?
Yeah, something like that around. With the big rotating sand barrels.
And it's like you look at this thing and it's larger than life, as opposed to somebody who is kind of newer to the sport and they see a bunch of red calibrated plates on a bar. They're like, okay, that looks like a lot of weight. But then you tell somebody, one of my favorite quotes from, I don't remember exactly who it was from. I feel like I heard it on a social media post somewhere where it's like, the average person isn't going to know the difference between a 500-pound deadlift and a 1,000-pound deadlift because they can't do either one. They're just like, oh, that's too heavy for me, and that's it. So the actual objective weight of the thing usually isn't what's going to draw their attention. It's, that guy's huge. That guy must be strong. And so presenting them in a way that you can emotionally attach yourself to, because if you are just calm face, you walk out like, I don't understand how some of these guys in their Giants Live intros walk out and they're like,
They got the flag too, so like this.
yeah. And I'm like, dude, this might be the best you're ever gonna get when it comes to an invite to a show. At least look excited about it, because some of the guys they are obviously all very excited because it's a hard invite to get. But if you're walking out and the crowd is kind of cheering, but they're like, maybe they don't know who you are. Somebody like Patty, where he jumps up and he clicks his heels together, that's kind of funny. Evan, with the thing where he did definitely steal from WWE, but he drinks the water and just sprays it everywhere. That's like visually more interesting than just walking out and holding up your flag.
Yeah, I feel you. That's why I will defend, rest in peace, Paulo Dwyer. A lot of people said he didn't deserve his World's Strongest Man invites. And was he the strongest guy? No. But he was the strongest Irish guy. So that's like, it's World's Strongest Man. They're trying to include more countries. And he played the crowd. I don't think anybody played the crowd better than Paulo Dwyer did. Like 2023 Worlds is a great example where he rips his shirt and swings it around his head. He's running around the stadium. Who else is doing it?
Nobody.
No one is doing anything like that. And it's like, yeah, he deserves the invite because they care about the crowd reactions in the video. They care about a good TV show. They care about putting on a good performance for the people who are paying to come see it. Well, I guess in 2023, no one was paying to come see it unless you bought the ladder.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's why he deserved his invite. Playing that game will get you more invites than being having a 10-pound stronger deadlift than a guy. Like if I have a 900-pound deadlift, you have a 910-pound deadlift for the deadlift world champs, but I'm going crazy every single time I deadlift something and I'm sprinting out of the crowd and going nuts, who are they going to invite?
Yeah. It also ties into people who have social media presence versus those who don't. And I will definitely be the type of person to say you should not be getting an invite based only on social media presence, because they've tried that before and it doesn't really work. But if you went through the World's Strongest Man lineup, there are 25 guys in that lineup. And as a fan, I know all of them. But if you went on social media, you could find like 5 of them, 6 of them, because some of them don't even have an Instagram or a YouTube, which your job isn't to be a YouTuber, but your job, if you want your job to be strongman, the way that a lot of guys in other major sports can make their job, their sport, people have to know about you. And if all you are is a blank face that just kind of looks like a big guy, they're a dime a dozen right now. You got to have something extra, which is why either you have to perform for the crowd or you have to have a little bit of social media. Like, that's why Patty is so popular right now. That's why guys like Mitch and Evan, and you can even say guys like Martins, he is popular for both. He's one of the greatest of all time, and he has a phenomenal YouTube presence. So I know for a fact that if a lot of these guys just started talking, people would find them a lot more interesting because they all are individuals. They have their own personalities, but you wouldn't know that by watching them compete.
Yeah, I mean, you like look at Bryce Johnson's Instagram. That's a great example because he was posting, and you can see when his wife takes over, and his wife is clearly hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's not funny. I haven't talked to him. I don't know.
Yeah,
but like she takes over, and his followers just rocket it up.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know, when you're starting strongman, the best advice I got is like get a coach early, get your nutrition in line early, and you're gonna do well. But then when you go pro, it's like hire a videographer. That's what Mitch did. Mitch got a video guy, and his social media game blew up. I mean, he doesn't get that NFL camp invite unless he has. I mean, he has like 300,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah,
he doesn't get that
invite.
However
many YouTube followers he has, YouTube subscribers.
Yeah, it's like Eddie kind of laid the blueprint, and Mitch is kind of the first person since him who's like, hey, well, I guess Martins did it too, but Martins did more of like really high end exploration videos, which are really cool. But Mitch was the first one since Eddie who's like, yeah, I'm just going to put World's Strongest Man in the title of all my videos because I am the World's Strongest Man, and it's going to get me 200,000 more.
Yeah, I was the World's Strongest Man at some point, and I can put that in my YouTube videos. And in my, like, I've told people this before. I think we've even talked about this before. You have to either be literally the strongest guy of all time, and so that's what Brian Shaw's YouTube channel was at the time. He was the strongest guy to ever do it, and so that's fan base you can get by like being in your garage and lifting 2 Thomas inch dumbbells on an incline dumbbell bench. That's one thing. Or you go the Eddie Hall route where you are not necessarily, I don't want to say inflammatory because he was sometimes, but he was just very charismatic and he knew his strengths. And not only were his strengths being strong, but he was silly about it as well. He had a YouTube following based on being entertaining. And you either, yeah, like I said, you go that route, or there's also the option of Thor, who is the largest man in history and can just have that aura by himself by being one of the best strongmen in history, being huge, being in Game of Thrones, because that you don't get that kind of exposure unless people know about you. So you got to put yourself out there, and I feel like that's one of the reasons that modern strongman doesn't feel larger than life the same way it did a little while ago. Even like as somebody who was kind of just getting into the sport, it just doesn't feel the same because there isn't as much big personality being shown, even though the guys are technically getting stronger year after year.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think my hot take on that is that we have a replacement Eddie Hall in Mitch because their social media game is very similar. Where it's just like I think Mitch reacted to like a gym lift video.
I saw that. I was like, I thought that was an Eddie Hall video at first.
Yeah.
Because they did the same thing.
But it's like, that's exactly what you need to do. World's Strongest Man reacts to some whatever. World's Strongest Man goes and eats whatever. World's Strongest Man wakes up in the morning and ties his shoes. People will watch that. And then you've got Bryce Johnson, who, if you've been around him in person, he is a massive.
Huge. Yeah.
Like, he's Thor size. And I think his social media game and his strength is going to get there in the next couple of years to have that Thor effect. But we don't have right now a Brian Shaw. We don't have someone who's just insanely strong, insanely big, and just puts out like, hey, here's me doing this nutso lift. I'm so big, I can do this.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're missing, because then it kind of hits on all. You have the performance side of strongman, you have the size side of strongman, and then you have the strength side of strongman. And we don't have someone who's doing that strength side of strongman right now in their company.
Yeah. And the person, in my opinion, who would be the best fit to fill those shoes is Trey Mitchell. Because I don't know how much you follow Trey Mitchell's Instagram, but I just so happened to be doing some dips at the gym the other day for my upper body session. And I was like, okay, awesome. I weigh 255 and I did 7 dips. I'm like, that's awesome. That's like really hard. And I just sat down in between my sets, got on Instagram, and I saw Trey Mitchell, 365-pound body weight plus 40 pounds, doing a set of dips. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, if most of the strength world saw that, that would be like front page news on a YouTube channel or an Instagram page somewhere. But nobody knows about it because Trey is not very outspoken. And that's one of the things I agree with Lucas Hatton and Alec on their YouTube page. They've always talked about how Trey is a funny guy. He has a great personality. Same with Tom Evans and all these other guys. And they were saying it about Bryce before his wife helped him out with that, which, first of all, that's really cute. Him and his wife working on the Instagram page together, I think that's awesome. And I've heard that they're both really nice people, so hopefully I get to meet them one day. Lucas and Alec are always talking about how Trey would be an awesome fit to be putting himself out there like this, because the man is an animal, like a 430-pound log press out of the rack, 900-plus deadlift any day of the week. But nobody really knows about that, and they don't usually talk about him in contention for these big shows because he doesn't advocate for himself like that.
Yeah. That's why, like, I remember when he podiumed at Worlds. I mean, obviously, like, very, like, huge congrats to him. Obviously, he's been trying for so long. But it's like, it felt like when he first came on the scene, everyone talked about him. And they didn't post anything. So people were like, oh, well, this new guy's coming up and he's posting a lot. He's posting a lot. He's posting a lot. But Trey just consistently was like, if there was a grip event, that sucked. But every single other event was like, yeah, Trey could win it. Trey could win it. Trey could win, like, Trey could win it. Like, you know what I mean? It's everything. And then he finally gets his... and gets third place, and it's like, dude, I want him to hire social media managers so bad. Yeah. Because it's like, dude, you could make so much money. You are so ridiculously strong. You could not even talk, go deadlift 900 pounds off the floor, go off camera, and if it was edited, it would look sick.
Yeah.
I mean, awesome. He's third. I've got the Rogue rankings up right now. He's third in the Rogue rankings.
Yeah, because
behind Mitchell Hooper and Tom Stoltman.
he's been going toe to toe with Mitch all year. And part of last year, it was between Mitch and Trey for the Rogue Invitational until the arm over arm.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy is in any other era, even if you put him back in 2016, 2017, the like mass monster era of strongman, he's hanging no matter what. Like he's right there. If not beating some of these guys, because not only can he log press damn near 500 pounds, he's also a 1,000-pound deadlifter. Because people forget also that he has the American deadlift record at 470 kilos, so 1,036 pounds. For you American bastards out there, myself included, um, he's an animal, but you would know that unless you searched it out.
Lucas Hatton's in that category too, where it's
For
like
sure.
he hasn't had his breakthrough at Worlds. I'll say he kind of got screwed 2 years in a row
Mm-hmm.
by the heats, but it's like, I mean, same thing. I have the Rogue Rings up too. He's behind Trey. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's
Right there.
Mitch, Tom, Trey, Lucas, and then a bunch of Americans in a row.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'm going to use
hell
that
yeah.
I'm going to use that to segue into our next topic because we got on a tangent.
Yeah, you got to kind of refocus a little bit.
The way invites are calculated.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Rogue is public with it.
Yeah.
I think other things should be public with it as well.
Yeah, primarily the world's strongest man. Because we kind of get a rough idea. If you're undeniable, they're going to invite you. But there's kind of a little bit of a lean toward the number one, the Western world in general, but specifically Great Britain. And I'm not going to include America in that because America genuinely has so much geographical area and population that makes sense. So like inviting, I should have the world's strongest man pulled up here somewhere. Total of 5 guys from America. Kind of makes sense because you look at all these guys. We have Evan Singleton, Bryce Johnson, Lucas Hatton, Levi Strong, and Nick Guardione. A couple of those you could argue some other people make sense in those places, but they invited those people first. So Tom Evans got an invite and turned it down.
Yeah, because he's got his bicep.
Exactly. Josh Pataka got invited and turned it down due to health reasons. But there's so many people in America. The top 10 in America beats any other country in the world.
Yeah.
Let alone most continents, they would beat that.
Yeah. Well, especially if you go North America as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Europe's strongest man, all 3 podium get an invite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you go, south of the U.S., you've got guys like Raul Flores in Mexico who's competing. He's competing for the deadlift world record. That guy's insanely strong.
Yeah.
And he gets no recognition.
Mm-hmm.
I think the language barrier definitely hurts there, as it does with the. I mean, it hurt Mateusz early in his career. It will always sting people, but it's like you've got guys, all 3 countries in North America. You've got a guy who genuinely belongs at World's Strongest Man from each country.
Yeah.
And how is North America's Strongest Man podium? That's not a qualifier for anything. You don't.
Yeah.
That's it. You do North America's Strongest Man, and you're not guaranteed anything.
The podium this year at North America's being Bryce Johnson, Wes Derwinski, and Nick Wortham. The fact that Wes and Nick both didn't get an invite is nuts. Wes is his own individual story because he was so good last year and didn't get an invite this year, which is crazy. Nick Wortham, that one makes a little bit more sense to me because he's relatively unknown. Again, somebody who just basically posts his lifts and nothing else. He's pretty funny. The Chalk Bowl podcast with Bryce, Wes, and Nick is a pretty entertaining listen if you haven't listened to it already. But the fact that only one of those guys got an invite is kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Wes Derwinski, he still has the world record in the throw, doesn't he? Or did they take it from Shaw? I thought he said it.
For the keg?
Yeah, for the keg toss.
No, Thor took it immediately after. So Thor ended up winning that event because that was the year that Thor won like 4 of the events and then
Mitch
didn't win. Yeah.
So I mean, he's if you're competing with Thor Bjornsson on a throwing event, and Wes is not the tallest guy.
No,
you know what I mean. But he's just an athlete, and the fact that they weren't even considered. But I mean, no offense to anybody by saying this, but you look at the comments, the World's Strongest Man posts when Pataka dropped out. Everyone was pounding the table for Gav Bilton.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was pounding the table. And Gav is a great strongman. He's a huge guy. He's a great strongman. I don't think you can say that he for sure deserves an invite over Wes Derwinski. Belton failed to make the finals 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't podium at Britain's Strongest Man, then why are you getting an invite to World's Strongest Man? I would dare to say in general, because the standard in Britain, to be fair, kind of ebbs and flows. Because depending on the shape Tom Stoltman is in, depending on the shape Luke Stoltman is in, Luke Richardson has on the proper day, Luke Richardson is the strongest man in the world.
I agree.
He's phenomenal. But it raises and lowers so often that there's a reason that all these major shows are dominated by other countries. And the only reason that British athletes get so many invitations is because Giants Live has that relationship with World's Strongest Man. And I think it's time now the sport has evolved enough to include North America's Strongest Man. America's Strongest Man should get at least one invite, which, to be fair, it's going to be Lucas until he decides to stop competing there. Unless other big names come up, which is why it should get an invite. Australia's Strongest Man absolutely deserves one invite, if not like two, because the standard in Australia, you want to talk about a country that is horrifically underrepresented, it's Australia.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Williams for the longest time, no one really even thought about him, and he's a monster now.
Absolutely.
I think here's my hot take with the Giants Live thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are sending the appropriate amount of British athletes to World's Strongest Man because they set it up to qualify like that. I think in the U.S., every federation is too focused on themselves that we kneecap ourselves. I mean, how do you qualify for North America's Strongest Man? You get invited.
Yeah.
Where does that go? Nowhere.
You know how you qualify for North America's Strongest Man? You're best friends with Alec Jose.
Yes.
That's how.
That's how you qualify. But it's like USS hates Strongman Corps. Strongman Corps hates USS. Strongman Corps ignores PSL. Obviously, we're seeing that with the scheduling issue. And it's like, dude, these. I mean, OSG is held in the US. It's like technically that's the only official way to qualify for Giants Live is OSG.
Yeah.
That's held in the US. Why don't we there's nothing set up in the US to where it's like, hey, here's the path from an amateur. There's only one path, and you have to fight through all these other Americans. But then in the UK, they've set up a bunch of different paths. That way they just get a bunch of guys into the pipeline. But we're only sending one guy, two guys through the pipeline every single year. Yeah, they're strong.
Yeah.
But it's like we're trying to shove everybody into one company. Whereas in the UK, they do it differently. And I think that's America's fault for setting it up like that instead of the UK's fault for setting it up like that. And that's my hot.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't even say that's a hot take because they're acting like there's millions of dollars at stake here. And it's like, guys, I know enough people who run these kind of shows. Nobody is making money from these. So why are you acting like there's competition here when there does not have to be? Because like I said, like you said a minute ago with Giants Live, there's unity underneath all of these shows where England's Strongest Man, Britain's Strongest Man, Britain's Strongest Woman, all of these shows that are amazing shows to watch, first of all, but there's no schedule conflict because they can plan them out. So it's like, imagine how awesome it would be if all of these people who run these federations could send an email to somebody else and be like, hey, you know how we all want to kind of share the same athletes and we all want to see the sport grow? How about we do it like this?
Yeah, it's that easy.
Yeah, which is big words from someone who doesn't run a strongman federation, of course, on my end of things. But at the same time, how complicated could it be?
I mean, look at, I think one of the best examples, and I'm not saying this because I'm competing against him, but I think he's one of the best showmen in weight class strongman is DJ Doggett.
Oh,
DJ Doggett has a disgusting circus dumbbell. He just threw up, 400 pounds stone to shoulder?
Yeah, 400.
Like RPE, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, now he's got he's doing Strongman Core Nationals, but he's getting pulled in all these different directions. It's like, he just did Santa Monica too. You've got guys like Nick Wortham. He's a great example.
Yeah.
Is that he could really compete at pretty much any major show if they were run to Roy Arancha too. He
Mm-hmm.
just won the Arnold's Pro-Am. He's going to the Arnold. That
Yeah.
guy's got a 1,000-pound deadlift. He did it in
Yeah.
a gym. Like
Yeah.
he's insanely strong. I think he could compete at a Giants Live right now.
Yeah.
But
I
there's
mean, put
no
him in
way
the
in America for him to go.
yeah, put him in the deadlift champs, and he's potentially pulling a new American record.
Yeah.
Which is like, again, how do you have a sport that's so small that doesn't promote its own athletes? Because like, there's a difference between, oh my god, we found this guy who has the potential to break the sprint world record, but everyone in the world has run at some point. So it's like, it makes sense that sometimes you'd be like, we're shocked, we didn't know this guy was so good. That should not be the case in strongman. There should be, it's so close and so like so small of a sport still that it shouldn't be that hard to find who's good at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the like degrees of separation. I'm pretty sure either you or I, just amateur strongman, we know somebody who knows somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like some random dude
Mm-hmm.
doing mud water comps in the
Mm-hmm.
like back of nowhere who's doing. I mean, there's guys in North Carolina, there's guys in Texas who are
Mm-hmm.
doing just nuts so lifts.
Yeah.
No recognition at all. No one cares because everyone's so focused on their own federation, on their own PRs, on their own stuff. But the
Mm-hmm.
UK, that's how they do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're constantly promoting their athletes. Giants Life is constantly like, "Hey, look at this guy! Look at this guy!
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna post about Paul Dwyer. We're gonna post about Shane Flowers. We're gonna post
Mm-hmm.
about whoever."
Yeah.
And really, the only organization in the U.S. that's doing that for their athletes is PSL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Strongman core here and there, but the thing with strongman core is it's all the amateur guys. So you're not going to be getting any of the crazy 1,000-pound deadlifts or near 500-pound log and all that kind of stuff. It's like they need to kind of figure things out a little bit more on the theatric side of things. And that's not to say live, because I've been to the Arnold Pro Am, and they're kind of doing the best with what they've got. But the only way you're going to get more budget is if you start promoting this stuff. Like I saw a lot of people saying that the Giants Live, it was in Vegas, they had it there and they promoted it kind of a little bit, but then athletes after the show were walking around like, oh, what are you in town for? It's like, oh, we just competed at Giants Live, a strongman show. I'm like, oh my god, I love strongman. I didn't even know it was in town. That happens all the time because
Yeah,
everyone, to a certain extent, knows about strongman. Like if you're like, oh, like World's Strongest Man, they're like, oh, I know World's Strongest Man. It's like, oh, that's what I do. They're like, oh, that's cool. And like that's kind of as far as it goes most of the time. But if people put more effort into it, I genuinely think that strongman could be as big among the young crowd on social media as bodybuilding and powerlifting are right now. It's objectively more interesting of a lift in every form than powerlifting. Physique wise, you get some of these guys that you like. I see these clips on Instagram all the time where it's like strongmen versus bodybuilders, and it's like that clip of Brian Shaw handing the Olympic. I'm like, okay, that's not really fair. Those were 212 guys. That's not fair. But you take the average bodybuilder, you put him next to the average strongman, and that's something that could be a social media spectacle if people knew how to promote it properly. I'm not strong enough yet to be posting like that. But the moment I am, you best believe you will not be hearing the end of it. Because you absolutely should, as an athlete, be promoting how larger than life you are. Because that's what gets people to watch the sport. All of these guys, everyone from World's Strongest Man, is probably bigger than the biggest guy someone in the general public might know. Be like, oh, yeah, one of my family members is 6'2". I'm like, well, this guy's 6'8" and he weighs 415 pounds. I'm like, what? That is crazy. And I'm like, I know, right? You guys should watch. And like, they're not watching because they don't know.
so I'm friends with Papa Don. He just moved to Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and he and I were talking. I mean, I think he's pulled a 940 deadlift. He's got a near 400-pound overhead. He got leaner so he can move and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
very strong.
Yeah, he's doing life stuff right now, and he's got over 100,000 Instagram followers.
Mm-hmm.
But still, in the relative grand scheme of strongman, even with 100,000 Instagram followers, not many people know him. And there's no, I don't say effort, but like the federations just do not post their own athletes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't post like, hey, here's this clip of this guy doing this. Here's this clip of this guy doing this. Here's this clip of this guy doing this.
Yeah. And if they do, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. And it's America there's so much money for sport in America. I mean, look at the Enhanced Games went and found 2 strongmen for a reason. They went and got Thor and Mitch for a reason. Mitch's knee was all kinds of messed up. And I think Trey's in a much better spot to pull 500 kilograms than Mitch is.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch was on the day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they went and got Mitch instead of Trey for a reason. It's because these guys show the size. They show like, hey, I'm freakishly strong. Like if you see Mitch on the street, he doesn't look like a guy who's Thor strong. You know what I mean? But it's that social media game that we talked about, 20 minutes ago, that it's the U.S. athletes just don't do it like the Stoltmans do. Like the Stoltmans, especially. I mean, they're both insanely strong, but they make sure everybody knows, hey, I'm Luke Stoltman. I have a 6-pack and I'm lean as all it can be. I can still do a 400-pound log.
Mm-hmm. At 40 years old. Yeah. And then Tom is, again, one of the largest people you'll ever see, period. I have a picture of me standing next to Tom, and it's hilarious because I'm like 6'3" and some change, 6'4" on a really good day if I'm like this. And I look like a little baby next to Tom Stoltman. And people in the UK know about him really well. Same with Eddie. But he come over here, and there's nothing. I'm like, guys, the amount of passion for sport in the United States rivals anywhere in the world. I mean, you take the local college football team for whatever state you live in, and it rivals the fan base of any major sport everywhere else in the world. Like, it's crazy. There's so much potential that just isn't being used, unfortunately.
It's kind of a hard question of like, when do you deserve invites? When do you earn the invites if you're a U.S. athlete? You know what I mean? Because the British athletes are, I mean, they're getting invited to the world's strongest man because people know them. That's why.
Yeah.
They're strong, but it's like if it's a 50-50 between, Andrew Flynn did great. Did he make the finals of World's Strongest Man? No, but he was right there.
He's great, yeah.
Like, Ben Glasscock didn't make the finals, but he performed pretty well. Patty unfortunately had an off time. But like a lot of the British guys performed great. They just didn't make it in. But even though they didn't make it, people are still going to know him.
Exactly.
Then you've got guys like Levi Strong, who he performed great, but no one in the U.S. knows him. He's got the perfect name for strongman. He's got the literal like clickbait name, Levi Strong, the most clickbaity name possible. And I think it's because the U.S. guys we're so focused on competing against each other instead of lifting each other up that I think actually. I'm going to shout out Lucas Hatton here. I think he does the best job of any current strongman in helping the strongman scene as a whole in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like I remember I judged the Arnold Pro-Am this year. We were running behind schedule, and he competed and then immediately came over and started helping us reset events, helping us with stuff like that. We don't get it. The Arnold Pro-Am doesn't happen this year without Lucas Hatton. The North America Strongest Man live stream is Lucas Hatton doing it. We're seeing Brian Shaw is now sending stuff to like the comp you just did, the Stat and Sturdy comp. Brian Shaw sent like care packages and free stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this is the beginning of it in the U.S. is where it's, I hate to say it, but like it's almost like trickle down economics with strongman to where like, the top guys are actually, but like instead of hoarding it all, the top guys are actually giving back.
Yeah, except it's actually working this time.
Yeah, because they actually care.
Yeah.
About the people on the bottom.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, in the early days of like Brian's era, which is like 2007, 2008, people knew it from the TV show, and the World's Strongest Man was kind of it. Other than like the Arnold, right? There are so many opportunities for this kind of stuff to happen in the States now that if you're not helping, which also on the note, like you said, Lucas Hatton's YouTube channel, Lucas and Alex content is some of the only YouTube stuff for strongman that I can actually sit through and enjoy the whole time, because you can tell that they have a love for the sport. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you found some entertainment value out of our ramblings. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like on whichever platform you're hearing this on, and be sure to follow for more. We have an Instagram account, YouTube account. Not sure where else it's going to end up, but we'd love to have you again next time. And any closing thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, please leave comments for us. Obviously, this is the first cast.
Mm-hmm.
Both Isaac and I love just consuming strongman content. We like hearing about it. We like talking about it. Please talk to us in the comments. Tell us what you disagree with, but tell us also like, hey, you guys ramble too much. You guys need to focus on this more. You guys have no business talking about pro strongman because you're both not very good.
Yeah,
Tell
exactly.
us whatever you want because we like talking strongman.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is we definitely will get better as we go. Same thing as when it comes to training, you got to put the hours in. But I'm just glad we got a chance to do this, and we will definitely see you. Hopefully, I don't know what the upload schedule is going to be like, just because, like I said, we're both employed full time. But we will definitely be seeing you guys again, and thank you for watching.